So, good evening. I am Catherine Varner, Head of Marketing and Communications at VES. Welcome to all of our alumni, parents, trustees, and friends of VES who are joining us tonight. I'm here with Board Chair Mary Hodges George in the class of 1989 and Head of School Garth Ainsley. They are really looking forward to sharing with you tonight all of the exciting news and updates on our school. I will note that we will do a Q&A session at the end. And so as you're hearing some of the updates they're sharing, if you have questions you'd like to ask, please enter them in the Q&A at the bottom of your screen. So first, let me welcome our guest speakers and give you a little bit of background. By now, I hope you've all had the chance to meet Garth Ainsley, head of school. He's now in his second year of leading VES, and it's been a bit of a wild ride, Garth, right? Lots of changes and challenges over the past 2 years. You know, we've had COVID, we've had all kinds of new methods of teaching and learning during that time. And really so many great highs, though, that I think have come along the way. And we're just thrilled to have you here leading the school. One of the things you'll hear about tonight, and that is so exciting under Garth's leadership, is breaking ground on what is the largest facility project in the history of the school. That's Panel Smith Hall. So you'll hear us talk about that. And, Garth, you've got the joy of leading the school through, with this extraordinary faculty and staff. We've got curious, fun, artistic, innovative kids. We passed a few today when Mary and I were out walking around campus. It was amazing. And just incredibly supportive alumni and family members. So thank you. Garth is actually going to jump up and run over to the command center for Give Day while I introduce you to Mary. So I hope all of you have received the current issue of the VES annual report of giving. That includes an article about Mary that I hope you'll take time to read. She's got a great background, and she is currently the chair of the VES Board of Trustees. Mary is the first female chair of our board, and that's an exciting moment. And she was in the first graduating class of the school, female class of the school. After graduating in '89, Mary received her bachelor's degree from the University of Virginia and her master's degree from the Teachers College of Columbia University. She's the co-founder and director of an organization called My Remarkable Self. It's a program that focuses on the social and emotional wellness of children and teens, and she lives with her family in Charlottesville. The oldest of her 3 children, her son Brock, has joined us this year at VES, and we're delighted to have him as well. So Mary wears lots of different hats, as you can imagine. She's board chair, she's a current parent, and an alumna, and it just gives her incredible perspectives and varied perspectives on the school. And she'll share some of those with you tonight. So speaking of, this amazing community that we have and the leaders helping us pull together, we couldn't be more grateful for the level of participation that we're having today on our 5th annual Give Day. Tremendous financial support is flowing in, but even more importantly, this day is about participation. So Garth's made it across the hall. You can see Garth and Henry Clark, our head of advancement, in the command center. So guys, give us an update.
Hey, thank you, Catherine. So I am here live in the war room of our 5th annual Give Day. And as I hope you all know by now, we've got really ambitious goals today. We're trying to raise, and unlock a $2.75 million challenge gift based on participation from 2,750 givers. And so it's a big day for VES, and thanks to the leadership of Henry Clark, we really are setting ambitious goals for the school. Henry, can you give us a whole update?
So 2,150 people have given today. It's been really exciting, really extraordinary. And we've almost got $600,000 from that group of givers, and that's in increments from $5 to 15,000. It's pretty incredible. We're leaving a lot of money on the table right now, though. There's 2.75 million. It's all or nothing. And we got 600 gifts to go by midnight to get there. So if you're thinking about making a gift, even if it's a really small gift, it could have a major impact on Smith Hall, the endowment, Fagan's Garden, the Costas Wellness Center. It's really huge for us. Thank you so much for your support today. It really means a lot. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Henry. Garth's going to head on back, get to back to his desk. We're running him around. So what I would like to do is share that later on, you're going to see a video that talks about many of the tangible examples of how your dollars are really at work to support the people, the programs, and the campus here at VES. But first, let's talk about the priorities of the school. With Mary here today, I thought it would be helpful to hear from her perspective, what is the board focused on? You know, the board plays a really critical role in helping to shape the VES experience and culture. And I thought, Mary, you could maybe tell us at a high level, where is the board focused this year and as they look ahead?
Sure. Thank you, Catherine. Welcome everyone who is with us today. I'm so excited to be here with you on this 5th annual Give Day. So from the board's perspective, we have 5 significant priorities that we're looking at. 1, building community. Next, enhancing our campus through improved spaces and facilities. Promoting an exceptional culture to help us attract and retain the best faculty and staff. Building a strong admissions pipeline of mission appropriate students. And of course, to achieve all this, we have to raise money. So with a particular emphasis on supporting several needs, such as faculty compensation, scholarships for students, capital projects, and deferred maintenance for our beautiful campus, and continuing to grow the VES Endowment and Trust. Catherine, you're on mute.
Thank you for highlighting those, Mary. And what I'd like to do next is to really dig into each one of those. So you talked about building community at the top, and community is so important to our VES experience. You know, we hear from families who are looking at the school that that is one of the most attractive elements when they come to see us at VES. It's important for our students, our faculty and staff, and our alums. And you know, these past 3 years have been challenging from the perspective of building community and ensuring that connectedness. So how do you assess how VES is managed during these trying times? And how's the school moving forward in building community?
Yeah, I'll take that one, Catherine. And I would say it has been trying times, and trying times for everybody during COVID. I think the good news for me coming in as a new head during COVID was there was no playbook. We had to figure it out. And so I think it's a real testament to the leadership team at the school, our close partnership with the Board of Trustees, and support from our families that we are able to. And I think that first year was just about surviving. And this year, you know, we as a leadership team really talked about how do we rebuild that community and that trust. And and to me, I will always think of this and I always think of our relationship with our families as a partnership. And I think we've really seen the benefits of that, because as you know, I think any school and group of parents can debate mask policies, vaccination policies, until you're blue in the face, and it's going to be hard to get everybody to agree on any one item. But I've been just incredibly gratified by the spirit of cooperation that has existed, and the fact that when we've asked parents and students to follow a protocol, they have, and it's brought us a tremendous amount of success. And it was really funny. You know, we spent the last year and half of this year trying to keep COVID off campus. And then we had that, you know, came back in January and realized there's no way we're keeping it off campus. And so then it's a question of how do you live with it so that you don't have to send your whole student body home or send too many faculty home and force us to, you know, think about that virtual school. And so we did a really good job. And then we had we
wanted to build community. So we had one event just before spring break. We had a dance, and it turned out it was a lot of kids. Nobody got very sick, but a lot of kids got an extra week for spring break. Let's just say that. But since we've come back from spring break, we are as normal as we have been since February of 2019. The athletic contests are happening. We're gathering in the chapel. We're sharing meals together. We're doing all of those things that are such an important part of that VES experience. But again, I just will always think about throughout the ups and downs. I've always felt that we've had a great partnership between board, school, leadership team, and especially families and students.
Thank you.
And I'll jump off of that for a second, adding on just from the board perspective. Since Garth's arrival, he's really worked hard to build deeper connections among the faculty, staff, administration, parents and alumni, and of course with our students. The head of school home has really become this amazing hub for social connection. And now with COVID really under greater control, he, along with the development and admissions teams, will be on the road more often, reaching out to a broader community. So stay tuned. See if he's coming to a community near you. I also want to add that at VES, we are really leaning with intention into our Episcopalian roots. Very simply, that means that we're being a school where we value every individual for their unique gifts and perspectives, and a community where everyone really feels that they belong. This includes setting expectations for how we treat each other with empathy, with dignity, understanding, respect, and kindness. That's a key focus for VES, to create a community where everyone feels supported, valued, and connected. And finally, we want to build trust across our community in general. Listening to all of you and communicating well are essential to us. That's why we seek out these opportunities to meet with our students, our faculty, our parents, and our alumni to listen to their perspectives and their needs and interests. And to always be curious, to authentically care about hearing your voices, and to build trust with our community. All of these are critically important as we move ahead.
And I hope that's what all of you participating tonight are feeling, that this is a great opportunity for us to share out with you. And hopefully, again, you'll take advantage of asking questions if there are things we don't touch on that you would like to have answered. So, everybody, I think, in today's world is looking for a stronger connection and a deeper sense of belonging. It's a big topic of conversation. Let's shift gears and hear about some of the exciting things that are happening on campus. We've alluded to them. Many of these opportunities that are underway, whether it's facilities or programs, are really about creating connection, providing spaces for faculty and students to connect a lot more even than they may be able to do in the spaces that we have today. And so that's really important to us. And we're working on ways to enhance teaching, learning, and even our residential experiences. So we spent some time today with Mary and Garth around campus. And I'm going to share my screen and play a video where they give you some highlights of all that's going on.
Just want to talk a little bit about how your gifts impact VES. VES, like so many other schools, we've really got four sources of it.
Okay.
We've got tuition, we got annual fund.
All right, let me do that one more time.
There we go.
All righty.
I just want to talk a little bit about how your gifts impact VES. Now, VES, like so many other schools, we've really got four sources of revenue. We've got tuition, we got annual fund, we've got our endowment, and then we've got special capital gifts that support special projects. Annually, net tuition revenue provides 75% of our operating budget. So it's really, really important to us. Thanks to a special gift this past summer, we were able to completely redo our advancement offices. Now, our advancement offices house our admissions and our development offices. And we want to have a professional, welcoming appearance every time a visitor shows up and thinks about sending their child to VES. So let's go take a look. Okay, so let's step into the admissions office. Our new director of admissions, Trip Price, and you can see it's a beautiful space. We've redecorated everything. Here's Henry Clark, head of advancements office, class of '03. His is not as beautiful because he's in the war room working on Give Day. But again, light, welcoming, professional spaces. And as we walk down the hall, you can see some of the rest of the advancement team. Here are two recent VES grads who are now employees, Sydney Thompson, Lewis Williams, both class of 2016. Got a beautiful new kitchen so we can make sure people are well fed and well hydrated when they come visit VES. And here's our advancement conference room.
Do you hear that? That's a sound of progress. Behind me is our soon-to-be Panel Smith Hall, made possible by the generous donations of Will Panel and Chris Smith, both alumni and former board members. Panel Smith Hall will open in the winter of the next school year and bring together all of the humanities at VES. The new spaces inside and out will give students and faculty more flexibility for learning, collaboration, and presentation as we continue to enhance our Distinguished Humanities program. Panel Smith Hall is located next to Zimmer and has a wonderful view of the baseball field out its back. We're also extending Box Plaza as so many students and faculty enjoy that area as a place for gathering.
So I'm standing here at the former site of Mingy Cottage, where this space is going to be completely transformed with a really exciting new capital project that we've already had a ton of support for, but we would love some more. This project is going to be to honor former staff member, beloved figure, mother to so many generations of VES students, Mary Fagans. And what we're going to do is we're going to build a patio, an outdoor classroom, a fireplace, and it's going to be such a key gathering place for faculty, for students. And when the alumni come back, I expect to see you out here as well. And it's going to be the site of the 107th celebration, which we're going to do this fall, October 1st, 2022. Please get back to campus for this. It's going to be a special event, a can't miss event for all bishops.
The faculty of VES are our greatest assets. I'm sure many of you remember those faculty members that meant so much to you. And you can choose to direct your dollars to both faculty compensation or faculty housing so we can continue to recruit the very best at VES. And I'm standing here today with Chris Button, our Associate Head of School, and he's going to tell us about what some of your donations have given to he and his family.
Yeah, so we've lived here for 10 years. And we've been at the school for 11. And this past fall, because of the very generous support of alums and friends of the school, they actually put in a screened-in porch, redid the whole back and the deck, which has been great for entertaining students and having faculty gatherings, things like that. And they're making improvements on most of our neighbors' homes as well, just to improve the overall quality of life. And for us, this has been an absolute game changer. It's really a lot more fun to live here, and certainly it makes it a lot easier for us to have people over. So it's been great.
And this is all because of wonderful gifts and donations from both friends and alumni like you.
Thank you.
So another really important area of your gift support is the VES Endowment and Trust. Currently, the VES Endowment sits at about $44 million. And a lot of that is some good performance, some good gifts, and especially John Ellison's $10 million gift to support that. It's really important to us that we use your endowment dollars very wisely. We draw about 4% a year right now, and make sure that they are going to benefit students and faculty. On the student side, let's talk about what they do. Obviously, John established the Ellison Scholars Program. We've selected 2 amazing students for this year's class. We also have other scholarship programs, the Bishop Scholarship, as well as the Sparkman Scholarship. Sparkman goes to our top day students. Bishop Scholarship supports our top boarding candidates. We've got 6 new scholars coming in next year. We had a terrific luncheon for those families on our Bishop-to-be this past weekend. And these are examples of how your dollars are helping us attract the best and brightest scholars, athletes, and citizens to VES.
So that was a fun tour of campus. We had a couple little vignettes there. And Garth, do you want to talk a little bit about some of the other things on?
Yeah, I mean, the shame of it is that there's so much going on this campus right now. That just, that's a great video, but there's also a lot more that is happening and has happened. You know, last summer before last, we transformed all of Third Jet into dormitories. So that space is now being inhabited by our senior girls. And so that's been a real home run. And then our Costas Wellness Center, which we didn't show you, is a beautiful infirmary space. We've got really first-class, state-of-the-art medical facilities on this campus so that we can properly take care of our kids. And it's such a game changer. We, in the old days, someone had the flu, they went back to dorm and gave more people the flu. And so this is really, that's been incredible space, and honoring Nick Costas, who was a dear friend to so many, including me. And that feels really good. We're also in the process of redoing our tennis courts. We've got plans, obviously at some point we got to get to redo Jet and Pendleton, those are going to be big. But anytime we've got some extra cash, we are thinking about where's the best place to deploy it? Is it for support faculty? Is it to support students? Is it to enhance facilities? But it's again, we have been on a great 10-year trajectory in terms of putting the school in a great position. But I'm a big believer that we cannot take our foot off the gas if we are going to be that great competitive boarding school we all aspire to be, for the next 50 to 100 years. The time to invest in this school is right now. And it's great to see all that we're doing, and including this Give Day.
And all of those projects you mentioned are opportunities that people can select at any time during the year to give toward, correct?
Yes, thank you.
Absolutely. So we've talked a couple of times now about faculty and staff, a recurring theme of how important they are. They're really the soul of the school. Talk a little bit about what we do to create an exceptional culture that helps us attract and retain excellent faculty and staff.
So, Catherine, I would say the biggest thing that has happened, and this happened, this is a great program I inherited, but in order to enhance faculty predictability and support, we did the board and the school did a major study on salaries and created a banding program to really help faculty identify how can I expect to be compensated during my time at VES, and knowing that they can make a career here. The other piece of that is making sure that we are doing a good job of being in the classroom, evaluating our faculty. This is not my quote. I've heard it from several people associated from VES and also from outsiders who say that they don't know of any other school where they're spending as much time in the classroom evaluating faculty, and it's really we're going to, just like when I was a student at VES, some of my favorite people were the young teachers who were just out of college, had great energy and really connected with kids. And we want to continue to bring some of those dynamic young folks to campus, but also make sure that they've got a way to know they're going to get mentored, evaluated, and supported. And ultimately, what we need to do on the faculty side is make sure that we are identifying those faculty that are impacting the students the way the Jay Height, John Foster, Bruce McCormick's, impacted me when I was a student here, and make sure that we can keep those talented people at VES. And the other thing I loved in the video of Mary and Chris Button speaking, we want people to feel really, our faculty are really hard. And when they come home at the end of the day, I want them to have spaces that they feel really proud of, and spaces that they want to invite students into to further create that community.
Great. And we also use those spaces for, gathering faculty together, which is also another really important way to build connection and culture. Let's shift gears and focus on the revenue side of the house. We'll talk a little bit about admissions. Mary, maybe you can walk us through that, and then we'll shift to development. And Garth, I'll look to you to share some numbers there. We have a very strong pipeline of kids for this coming year. And Mary, I'd love to hear your thoughts about that.
I'd love to. The admissions team is thrilled about the great students who are applying and matriculating to VES. Next year's incoming freshmen will have more legacies than any other time in recent memory, which is absolutely wonderful. We love, love, love legacies. It's also a class of scholars and kids of excellent character. And I really want to give a special shout out to head of admissions Trip Price, who's just done an incredible job, especially in this first year, recruiting and bringing in wonderful students, as has Rebecca Urich, who is Director of International Admissions. So a huge thank you to both of you. You may also remember, as Garth had mentioned, that we received a $10 million gift from John Ellison, who established the Ellison Scholars Program. It's really a game-changing gift that we consider a scholarship for scholars. But most importantly, word of mouth is our most powerful marketing tool. We invite all of you to please share all the great things happening at VES with potential families, and don't hesitate to reach out to our admissions team at any time. They welcome your calls and your input. So thank you.
Thanks, Mary.
Yeah,
Garth, you
on
want
the
to talk about-
fundraising side, Catherine, I feel like we're really hitting on all cylinders right now. But as I said, we're going to continue to push hard. And a great example is Give Day today. So a goal of 2,750 participants is really ambitious. And just to put that into perspective, Episcopal High School has their Give Day tomorrow. Their goal is 1,000. St. Chris had theirs, I think that was March 30th. They completed it with 1,300 and some odd donors. So we're going more than 2x those schools which are bigger and have great long traditions of alumni supporting giving. So it's amazing, and I'm always incredibly proud and humbled by what this little school is able to do. And as I alluded to in the video, the endowment's never been in this kind of territory before. $44 million. Obviously, John's gift was a significant part of that, but we are working hard to invest those endowment dollars. And all of a sudden, it's really starting to throw off on an annual basis significant income that can go towards faculty and go towards students and go towards this campus. And the other piece that's really happened over the last 10 years under again, I'm stepping into a great spot. This happened under Tommy's leadership, and I think Henry really has shown his leadership in this, but it wasn't that long ago that on an annual basis, our alumni participation was in the mid to high teens. We expect to be over 40% this year. And again, that's a number any of us who are bishops can be really proud of when you compare that to other schools. So for a school of our size to be able to get the support we're getting, it says that we've been doing a lot of things right for a lot of families and a lot of alumni for a lot of years. So I'm just, again, very gratified, humbled, and excited, but we're not letting up because those dollars, I hope you can see, are really see the impact they're having on this community.
Great. Well, thank you for that insight. Let's shift just a little bit and put the lens over on Mary. Mary stepped into this role as board chair at the same time that Garth came on board. She has a long history of working with the school that we're grateful for in a number of ways, even bringing her some of her own teaching and training in for our female students to help them better think about their own mental health. So we've so appreciated you, Mary. But talk to me about what really attracted you to take on this particular role in leading VES.
Thank you, Catherine. That's a big question. I really believe deeply in the boarding school model. It's transformation. It's a transformational experience for students. It was for me. It changed the trajectory of my life, which I'm forever grateful for. I believe in our strategic vision. I'm excited to see the progress against it to date, and I'm eager to help guide the path forward as we continue to work through our vision. Giving back to my school with the goal of making it even stronger for future generations is very important to me. I think that we just have so much upward trajectory to go that the sky's the limit. And so I'm very excited about that. But one of the most important things to me is the strength and meaningfulness of the VES relationships. I've had some of the most wonderful friendships from VES throughout my life. I met my husband at VES, and my family has all been a part of the VES experience. And I just, there's something that VES has, some special sauce that no one else does. And that really played into why I took on this role.
So compelling. And now that you are leading the board, talk a little bit about the vision, what you want for VES over these next 5 years.
Sure. There are about 5 areas that I want to mention. First, to create programs of academic distinction that create demand for our school. We want to deliver what's so critical for our students to be prepared for college and life, as well as to connect the dots of important ideas, to be curious and innovative, to be leaders and give back in meaningful ways. And with Panel Smith Hall, VES is investing $15 million in the humanities program. Why are we doing that? Parents want to ensure that their students are strong communicators. So we're going to double down on instruction in writing, public speaking, critical thinking, and thoughtful discourse, as well as the connection of important ideas across disciplines and nurturing students' curiosity, creativity, and innovation. We're also going to really seek to increase our college counseling, as that's such a strong, important program that we already have in place, and we just want to continue to build on it. Recruiting and retaining outstanding faculty. That is always one of our goals that we have year in and year out, because that's who teaches our children. Work to make VES accessible and more affordable, especially for legacy students and a diverse population of talented young adults. And we're going to continue to invest in our beautiful campus, as you can see by the beautiful Mary Fagan's Gardens and the Box Plaza extension as part of Panel Smith Hall. And again, we're going to continue to build our ties with all of those in our VES community, alumni, friends, and the greater Lynchburg area, because community is incredibly important for VES.
Well, thank you for those insights about where the energy is being focused and where you're looking to lead the school. I really appreciate it. And to both you and Garth, thanks for letting us get to know you each a little bit better, for sharing the exciting updates about what's going on campus, and just showcasing all of those through the video and your examples in our conversation tonight. Again, I just want to open it up to folks to add questions to the Q&A if anyone has them. I will comment while we're waiting to see if anyone would like to pose a question. In a recent webinar that I was on, where we were talking about Fortune 500 companies and what they are continuing to look for in recent graduates, the students that they're going to hire into their organizations, communications, collaboration, teamwork, critical thinking, all of those softer skills, if you will, are top of the list. And so I do think that's something that's extraordinarily important for us to continue investing in here.
Yep.
All right, we have our first question. I deeply appreciate the institutional priorities that have elevated raising funds, improving learning spaces, and attracting and retaining great teachers. One of the biggest issues today is student and faculty emotional well-being. Can y'all talk about what we're doing, what programs are in place to address the bigger cultural concerns and support the students and those who are there to support them? That's a great question. Thank you, Henry.
Yeah, and Catherine, that is a great question, and it's something we talk about a lot. And the data is not good. I mean, I think this generation of adolescents is growing up with higher levels of anxiety, depressions, feeling lonely. And I know Mary can speak better about that than I can. That's more her area of expertise. But and I think that it was only exacerbated by COVID. And so mental health and wellness is something we talk an awful lot about. We added, our longtime, unfortunately, we lost our longtime school counselor and beloved dear friend, Janet Grattan, this year. Before her passing, though, we had already added another counselor to our team this year. And so we are taking a hard look at how we do health and wellness at VES. And so we're going to have some structural changes going into next year. And again, that's going to be under Chris Budden's incredible leadership. Now that we think we're through COVID, we've given another meaty project to sink his teeth into. But it's some of it comes down to that core values you've talked about, like how do we take care of kids and support students, which is something I think VES does as well as any institution in this country. But the challenges are real and they're significant right now. But Mary, I'd love to hear your take on that.
Garth, I think you said it very well, especially with the onset of COVID, the kids' anxiety and depression rates have been incredibly high. And I think one of the things that we have worked on at VES is really those touch points with trusted adults, making sure that we have their advisors that are well paired with them. We make sure that they have continued lunches with their advisors and a group of kids. So there's always someone there who is reaching out to those kids and seeing where they are and seeing how they're feeling and asking those important questions. And again, just making that connection with them. I think that one of the other things that we really have done well at VES, it really prior to COVID, because we haven't been allowed to bring people in, but we've really had a lot of different groups of people talking about whether it's drugs and alcohol or talking about, various issues like women's issues, men's issues, coming in on a monthly basis or every 6 weeks to talk about these different things that are going on in the world and how they can affect them and really prepare our kids for the world that they're going into. So probably I went off a little on a bit of a tangent there, but I think that's one of the areas that we really do well. And I'm excited for us to be able to bring more people back in now that hopefully COVID is behind us.
Not knocking on wood here. And Mary, and I'm also going to piggyback on something you were talking about earlier, the boarding school experience. I think boarding schools are really relevant and important right now because in this residential community, the kids have a lot more autonomy and they're going to have to face their anxieties in a way that sometimes a parent may step in to protect or help. And one of the pieces of this is teaching kids resiliency and how to face uncomfortable feelings. And every ninth grade student who shows up to move into dorm next fall is going to feel uncomfortable because it's odd moving away from home and moving into a dormitory with a bunch of strangers. But I think those type of experiences that we put kids into on a daily basis, they have to learn to self-advocate. They have to learn to deal with their teachers. They learn how to structure their days. And I think that is, obviously there's no silver bullet for this, but I think that's an important piece for kids today that a lot of kids don't have access to.
And to add on to that also, Garth, I think one of the greatest things about boarding school also is it provides these safe parameters for kids to learn and gain their independence and fail safely because they have these invested adults and peers who are there to help them.
Thank you for answering that. We have another question. that, VES is certainly known as primarily a boarding program, but are there some additional programs that help engage the day student community? And looking ahead, how might we do that more deeply in the future?
I'll start out with that one, Catherine. One of the real tragedies of COVID for VES, which prides itself on community, was we really created a separate hardline separation between our day and our boarding community. And to me, it's always funny, if you go visit some other boarding schools, they will tout we're 100% boarding, that's a better experience. And I could not disagree more. That may be right for that school, but for VES, that connection with Lynchburg, the Lynchburg community, it's always been an important part of my experience at VES, and it continues to be so. And so creating a great partnership is important, and we are starting to see it now. I mean, I see day students on campus again at night and on the weekends, and I know that our day families are over here supporting our boarders who can't get off campus to get a haircut or something, and so those connections, those meaningful connections, are really happening. But we really aspire to for that to feel seamless, for our day students to feel welcomed here all throughout the day and into the evening and throughout the weekends. We want them here participating in our activities. And part of it is we're a small community. And if a third of our community is not feeling like they're an active part of this campus, it gets really, it's too small. And so I'm really proud over time of what a symbiotic relationship we have between the day and boarding communities at VES. And I think we've done a lot of work this year, but clearly we're going to keep pushing that.
Great. We've learned that if we pause for just a few seconds longer than is comfortable, you mentioned that maybe some additional questions might pop up, so we'll do that for a sec. Mary, you were talking about, or Garth, you just mentioned, as new students come, ninth graders on dorm, they're uncomfortable. And there's a great part in Brene Brown's new book about Atlas of the Heart that talks about comfortable discomfort. And it's in those moments of being uncomfortable that you grow the most. And so I think, that's something that boarding school and our boarding and day school does well. All right, no more questions are rolling in. So thank y'all for the information you've shared and the questions you've answered. Let's just take one more look at Give Day before we close tonight. And Garth, we're approaching crunch time. I think we're about 3 hours, 15 minutes away. So how are we doing, and what would you like to share?
Let me get my update real quick.
While Garth is getting the update, I'm going to encourage everyone to reach out to a few people right now who you don't think have given, and please tell them that we need numbers. We need everyone involved. We need everyone to give. So please, 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 if you know people who haven't given, or your class is behind other classes and you want to be in the top 10, because I know my class is, I would encourage you to jump on the phone or a text to your friends and get those numbers up.
Okay, so we are 500 away, donors away from unlocking that $2.75 million. So we're within distance, but we're going to be pushing hard these next 3 hours and 15 minutes. And one last shameless plug: mark your calendars. October 1st, we are doing our 107th, and it's going to be a banner weekend. I think we will have 1,000 people back here on campus. We'll have activities Friday, Saturday, board meetings, installation ceremonies, big alumni award for Robert Carter Jett Award for John Ellison. So it's going to be a big, really, really special weekend for VES.
And a big party.
Great
Well,
food.
with VES, that goes without saying.
Fantastic. All right. Well, thank you all so much. And thank you to all of those who attended tonight and who are giving for our Give Day. We look forward to the next time we can get together. Have a good night.
Good night. Thank you.